It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this. I'm Jeff Grubb. I write for GamesBeat.com, but I also run Jeff Grubb's Summer Game Mess on my Twitter feed, and that's what this show is about. This is the Game Mess Show live with Jeff Grubb. Let's go over some news that's happening today. We have a few changes to the list. In particular, Microsoft's Bethesda acquisition event thing. Well, we know what that is now. That's going to be happening in the next hour on the Xbox YouTube channel. It is a Bethesda Xbox Roundtable is how they're framing it. I believe that they've filmed this previously. They should just be kind of broadcasting it live on YouTube. And we'll probably get some answers to some questions, but not to all the questions. I think that earlier this week when Phil Spencer put out the blog that, finalized the acquisition between Xbox and Bethesda, I think that blog post was meant as a way to sort of head off some of the questions that people might have expected to get answered here. For example, about exclusivity. I don't expect them to talk too much about exclusivity during this event. They might, but I doubt it. And I think that was why that blog post existed. They're like, hey, let's just bring it up now. And that way, now we can just talk about the Bethesda games and what it means for Game Pass and what it means for Bethesda making games in the future. I don't think we'll also, they've said explicitly now, don't expect new game announcements. I think this is where they'll probably talk about some games coming to Game Pass. But if they did, maybe they did film this before they knew exactly what they were going to do with that. So that's also possible that maybe after this, we'll find out in a blog post or a separate social media post. We'll have to wait and see. But it should be pretty interesting. And then I think, everything else happening with Xbox and Bethesda going forward, it's not that long until we're in the June E3 season. That's when we'll really find out a lot more about what these companies have. And I think I said I was on the BRAP podcast, Basement Radio podcast, last night. And when I was on there, I said Microsoft should be pretty glad that they have Bethesda now, because Microsoft's not going to have a ton of surprises, I don't think, in terms of big games to announce at E3. They'll probably have some stuff, but they're not going to have the heavy hitters that really people are waiting for. When people say like, oh, Xbox has games, but maybe they don't have those huge level games that people have been asking for. E3 is probably not going to address that, or at least it won't address it from the Microsoft side. Bethesda might come in and. I think Starfield seems likely, right? Everyone's sort of feeling that way now. I think I'm with everyone on that Starfield seems pretty likely for this E3, but that's still speculation. So we'll have to wait and see. But I think I'm gonna let myself get excited. I'm a pretty big fan of Bethesda Game Studios open world games. I've never really played Fallout 76, but I know all the issues with that. But I will go back to Skyrim all the time still. So I'm ready to see what Starfield is, and I'm ready to give it a chance. I'm ready to let myself get hyped up for it. And then if the disappointment happens either because it doesn't get announced or because it falls through and it's not as good as I would hope, oh well. No, I'm a grown man. I can live with some disappointment. Well, there's also a new entry on the game list here. I'm pointing over here. I know that this is where my monitor is. I know the list is over here for y'all. So there is, on March 19th, the Square Enix Presents show. And this is Square Enix's new Nintendo Direct style event. They just announced that right now. I'm actually recording this beforehand so that I can post this video right when they announce that. Let's go ahead and go over some of what's going to be at this show. So let's read from my story here. Square Enix is launching its own Nintendo Direct style video event called Square Enix Presents. This showcase debuts 10 a.m. Pacific time on March 18th. Oh, okay, so I have it wrong on the list. Hey, good thing I'm doing this video. And it will focus on a handful of upcoming and ongoing Square Enix releases. This includes the $60 platformer Balan Wonderworld, which has a demo you could try now. I'm trying to be nice. Square Enix Presents will stream live to the publisher's Twitch and YouTube channels, and the company is planning to debut around 40 minutes worth of updates about its games, is promising news and the following games and projects. Then there's a little bumper there for one of our ads, of course, because writing on the internet, online media is a challenge. So here's the following games that they say they're going to talk about in the projects: Outriders, Balan Wonderworld, Tomb Raider, Marvel's Avengers, Just Cause Mobile, a new mobile game from Square Enix Montreal, and whimsical games from Square Enix subsidiary Taito. You know, we don't have to go over all of this, but you know, Outriders, we know that's coming soon. Balan Wonderworld is coming soon. I would expect both of those games to get some time, and then attempt to try to hype it up and say, hey, you could just pre-order these games now, and you should, because they're going to be so good. You know, both these games have had demos and chances for people to play, so we'll see how Square Enix is able to message against sort of the buzz that has gone up and down with these games. And once people got a chance to play them, it does seem like their stock fell a little bit, and definitely more so with Balan Wonderworld. Although I want to check out Balan as a morbid curiosity now. Tomb Raider. They said they're going to talk about the ongoing 25th anniversary of Tomb Raider. Is that 25 years really? Jesus Christ. You know, I think we know what this is. The Microsoft Store leaked that Tomb Raider Definitive Edition trilogy thing, and I think that that's probably what they're going to talk about here, because March 18th is when that leak said the release date was for that thing. So I would expect a shadow drop. A bummer that got spoiled. But I mean, now we know. I'm going to report it here for you. You can hear my daughter. Just say hi. Hi, Addie. We'll be done soon. All right, and then we got Just Cause Mobile. I'm not too thrilled about that, but I mean, I bet that's the kind of game that could play really well with kids. I bet kids could be really get into like a big destructive action game. We'll see. And then whimsical games from Square Enix subsidiary Taito. I like some of Taito's games. I think you know what? Let's take a look and see what they have. So yeah, it's stuff like Bubble Bobble, and you know, they've done some publishing of stuff like Cooking Mama. It's probably not that. They also, you know, it's the Space Invaders company. But when they say whimsical, they like, and whimsical's in quotes there. What do we think that means? I don't know. I'm hoping that it's maybe a collection of Taito games that are kind of off the wall. We'll see. It's hard to say. Maybe people in the comments have a better idea than I do. Let me know. Let's see if there's anything else I wrote here. No, okay. So then let's get back to the list. Okay, so not much else has changed. I think that Nintendo has reiterated that it is pulling down Mario games on March 31st. It still hasn't kind of said how it's going to... It hasn't said how it's going to replace the value of Super Mario 35, which is something I talked about last time. I am still pretty confident that they are going to want to do something to make people feel like they aren't losing something on their $20 a year for Nintendo Switch Online. It's still a bizarre move, so we'll have to see exactly how they frame it, and exactly, like, you know, one day you're gonna be able to buy Super Mario 3D All-Stars, and the next day you're not going to be able to. How do they talk about that? And maybe they just don't. Maybe it's just Nintendo. Maybe they just avoid the subject completely, and they just say, hey, this is gonna happen, like they just did. I will say that Mario Day was yesterday, and there was a lot of good sales. If you've ever been looking to get a Mario game on discount, this was your opportunity. I wouldn't count on like next Mario Day getting the similar deals, because who knows, there might be a new Mario game, and then Nintendo won't want to lower its prices. A company that is very hesitant to make a move like that ever. I think final thing, and let's go back to that Square Enix Presents, a bunch of Western games, and then Balan Wonderworld. And I guess there are a few things. And Taito is, you know, Japanese, but they didn't say anything about talking about Final Fantasy or anything like that. And we do still have the Final Fantasy Digital Fan Fest coming up in May. So maybe that is still when they are aiming to do so. Maybe that's like that they're going to talk about a lot of Final Fantasy stuff then. That seems likely. The fan fests, I don't have a lot of familiarity with exactly how those go down. It seems like a good time to talk about that stuff, but maybe it's just a celebration sort of thing, and there isn't a lot of news coming out of that thing. But I would expect them not to have Square or Final Fantasy stuff at Square Enix Presents, because they're gonna treat it Final Fantasy as a separate thing with a dedicated event like Final Fantasy Digital Fan Fest. Okay, so I think that's going to do it for me. I want to thank you all for watching, and really, the first show did really well. I still am not doing these live on Twitch. I wanted to do this one live on Twitch, but I am talking about embargoed news, so I couldn't do that. So we're doing this one as a recorded episode as well. But I will say the response was very kind. You know, there was I talked about Elden Ring and I went off the cuff, and of course that turned into a whole thing. I'll just say, you know, can't really see the sign. What is Elden Ring? I don't even know anymore. I'm kind of I'm over y'all. I'm over y'all, kind of to a little bit, an extent. You it was a bad relationship that we had. I had some stuff that I thought might give you hope, and it turned me into a meme, and I wasn't sure exactly how to respond to that. And I think I should never have put by the end of March on this list. That was my big mistake, and that was my mistake. It was all me. I take full responsibility for that. I never should have done that. I should have just always framed it the way I did, where it was like, I'm confident something's happening soon. By the end of March is kind of what my gut tells me, and what the information in front of me was suggesting. And now that it's like, you know, that information hasn't changed, but I haven't had more information to support it now. And you think I thought I would have. So I never fully confirmed it, so I never should have put it on the list. That was my fault. I'll take responsibility for that. And you know, we have to have this breakup between me and the Elden Ring community. That's fine with me. I hope you guys all find your next prophet. Good luck with that. This show, I do this show on my own. This is the, you know, it's the Game Mess Show Live. It is about what I want to talk about, and it's all on my own. If you want to support this, I mean, first you could share it, comment. I really appreciate all that stuff. But you can also join my Discord. Come hang out with us there, and there you'll find links to a Patreon that supports this stuff, the stuff I do with the Discord, supports my other podcast, basically just supports my extended gaming coverage beyond what I write on GameSpeed. I work for GameSpeed when I'm writing, but everything else I do in terms of podcasting and making videos and stuff like that, I'm a free agent. I do that stuff on my own, and so any support you can give me there would be awesome. You treat it like a tip jar is how I've been told to frame it, and I think that's probably pretty right. But the Discord is free to join. If you do join the Patreon, though, you get access to some secret channels inside there that are a little bit more hush-hush and a little bit more candid, and we try to keep that stuff locked down so that people can feel free to talk more openly. Okay, that's gonna do it. I took my ADHD medicine, my Adderall, not too long before this, and I think it's making me like, a little edgy. So let's get out of here. I'm gonna let you guys all go. By the time this is up, I think the Xbox event should be happening, so I'll be writing about that, watching it. Probably not gonna stream it live. That's something I might do with this channel in the future, though, with this show. When a big event happens, I might watch it with this, but Mike always says that we should probably just write instead, so I'll probably listen to Mike on that. All right, everybody, have a good one. Thank you for watching. Until next time, take care of yourself, and goodbye.